On September 8th of this year, we were all witnesses to a dramatic and historical event. At the age of 96, Queen Elizabeth II died. She was England's longest ruling monarch. This is the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today call our attention to the gifts that we receive from God and the things that we value and pursue. In the first reading, we hear from Amos. Amos was a shepherd. He lived around 750 BC during the prosperous times of King Jeroboam II. Although all seemed well in Israel, Amos calls out the excesses of the wealthy and the powerful, warning that they will lose their kingdom, the prosperity, and the privilege that they enjoy, because they have forgotten the God who blessed them and gifted them with good things. At 6 years old, then Princess Elizabeth had a vision of being a country lady with lots of horses and dogs. When she was 14, during the height of the Second World War, she made a radio broadcast to the other children of England and to the world. In it, she told her listeners that God would watch over them and bring them peace. In that gift of peace, it would then be their jobs to make the world a better place. When she was 21, she pledged her life to the service of the people of the United Kingdom. And at the age of 25, she became the Queen of England upon the death of her father, King George VI. In the second reading, we hear a portion of Paul's first letter to Timothy. Timothy was an administrator, a leader of the Ephesian community, and the letter deals with the duties and the obligations of an administrator. Now, different from the condemnation of Amos, Paul is encouraging Timothy in his work to seek the path to Jesus through a leadership that featured righteousness, devotion, faith, love, patience, and gentleness. Queen Elizabeth II reigned as queen for 70 years. She, like Timothy, had leadership responsibilities, constitutional and political duties, entertaining and hospitality, the care and safeguarding of the royal national treasures, the awarding of honors. She was also a dedicated Christian, the leader of the Church of England. In the gospel today, Jesus proposes the parable of Lazarus and the rich man to the Pharisees. Now, the rich man goes without a name, and it's probable that each of the Pharisees could fill in their own name, easily seeing themselves in the rich man's place. Lazarus goes to heaven. The rich man goes to hell. Now, it would be reasonable to believe that the rich man would understand why he has come to a bad end, but he does not. He continues to see Lazarus as something of a servant or a slave asking Abraham to send Lazarus to bring him water. The rich man continues to fail, forgetting what he learned and ignored through Moses and the prophets. He asks Abraham to send a special envoy to warn his family, lest they too suffer his fate. For all the gifts of wealth, power, and position that the rich man received from God, he does not understand that what he chose to value and pursue has brought him to this place. Now, in our day, we are familiar with the scandals of celebrities, the abuses of politicians, the corruption of people who start lives of service only to surrender their ideals, turning to lives of self-centered gratification and selfish accumulation. The problem is not new. Amos spoke to his community 2,900 years ago. Paul wrote his letter to Timothy 1,950 years ago. And Jesus confronted the Pharisees over 2,000 years ago. And today, we continue to face the challenge. The story of Lazarus and the rich man is not a story about being rich or poor. It's a story about choices. And the readings make it clear that our choices have consequences. The example of the life of Queen Elizabeth II tells us that the world notices those who use their gifts of influence, wealth, and advantage to make choices to serve the good of others. And we, like the 14-year-old Princess Elizabeth, know that if we use our gifts to serve one another, God will bring us peace. Amos, Paul, and Jesus all point to us today, asking the question: in the riches, the graces, the gifts that we receive from God, what are the things we value and pursue?
Let us now profess our faith. I believe
in one God,
God,
the Father Almighty,